Alright, hi, here's part 10, last bit of FRQ sample walkthroughs. So, last one I'm on is from practice exam number 3, question number 4. It is a little bit ecology or interaction based. I don't think it's energetics, I'm taking that out, other than like how enzymes work. But I thought it was a good example and a nice one to see like how much simpler a type of question number 4s are. So up the top here, question number 4, you will have an A, B, C, D, 4 parts. You're gonna, again in the first part, describe concepts about biology, just be regurgitating information you know. Part B, you're explaining a little bit further, so it's kind of like the A in the other style of question, describe, explain, but in question number 4, it's A, then B. In C, you're going to make a prediction, and in D, you're going to justify and kind of like add the science to your prediction. So it's really similar to parts A and D of a number 1 style, but in number 4, it's just a couple less points, a little less going on. So all the way down here, this one is about nematodes, which are little worms. If you were in biology and worked with C. elegans, those are nematodes, like little tiny microscopic worms. So we have a nematode that is infecting pine trees, and if the pine tree gets infected with these worms, it's going to produce a chemical, where is it? Alpha pinene, and the pine tree as a defense is going to like up the expression and production of that chemical because that chemical is negatively affecting the worm. So it's an arms race there. So if the worm infects the tree, hurts the tree, tree's going to make the chemical, but now there are worms, nematodes, that have bacteria, symbiotic bacteria who are helping them, who are producing an enzyme that basically disables that chemical. So the worms have one up on the trees now, and they're breaking down that chemical. So to investigate this role, researchers are treating these worms with antibiotics. So like that second step up, like they've taken the antibiotics, which kills the bacteria, brings those worms down a peg, and they're seeing what it's doing in the presence of these defensive chemicals by the trees. So you're describing the relationship, explaining why this enzyme is working, predict what happens with the antibiotic treatment, right? You notice in a question 4, they don't show you the experiment results, they just explain what they're going to do. And then you justify your prediction. So now would be a good time to pause the video if you want to go ahead and spend 15 minutes on this yourself. That's what this slide is for. Here's a link for the video, and here's our answer. Okay, so describe the relationship between parasite and host. This is a plus-minus relationship. This is part of the ecology unit that we will be doing after the AP Bio exam for everyone. And so the parasite benefits as the worms, and the tree is going to be harmed. You could just say, you could include the worms and the trees in your statement here, but it just says you need at minimum parasite will benefit, host will be harmed. So now, explain how producing the enzyme that digests alpha-pinene is beneficial to the bacterial species living within the nematodes. So like, why on earth are these bacteria producing an enzyme? What's the benefit for them, right? So this is a situation, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? If you are helping the nematode, like to combat against the tree, like the nematode is the enemy of the tree, the bacteria is the enemy of the tree, like so nematode and bacteria are friends. So if the enzyme is helping those nematodes survive, that's the home for those bacteria, and they'll continue to live. They'll get food from those worms, things like that. And so by producing the enzyme that digests alpha-pinene, the bacteria increase the survival rate of nematodes. Prediction for the next one, right, in C. The nematodes continue to provide protected habitat and resources for the bacteria. So it's a win-win for worm and bacteria. Lose for tree, right? Predict the effect of antibiotic treatments on the mortality rate of the nematodes when exposed to alpha-pinene. So the alpha-pinene is the chemical that hurts the worms. but the worms have a bacteria helping them degrade that. But if you treat them with antibiotic, you bring them down a peg. You don't have the ability to combat the alpha-pinene as a worm, so the mortality rate of the nematodes is going to increase, or more worms are going to die, or worms will not be able to survive as well in the presence of alpha-pinene produced by the tree. Any of these will work because those worms are treated with antibiotics, right? In the prediction C, you don't need to go at length as to why. That's what's going on in D. So provide reasoning to justify your prediction in part C, right? If the way that you write is to kind of put these two together, that is kind of what I do. Kind of like you can see my statement up here. I sort of combine C and D together because that's how my writing and my thinking works. You'll be getting the point. So don't worry that you need to like state one item at a time. The reader is going to see that you are incorporating ideas for C and for D. So provide reasoning to justify. This is where you're putting the science to connect, like, why is use of antibiotics bad for these worms. It reduces that bacterial population. They're not able to degrade the alpha-pinene because of it, because the worm isn't doing that. It's their bacteria friend that's helping them do that. So as a result, there will be more alpha-pinene to negatively affect. Oh yes, that's right. There will be more of the chemical produced by the tree. Oopsie. No, because the enzyme was degrading it, and now it's not, and that's that chemical that is the defensive mechanism of those trees. Okay, God, plants are really cool. All right, so that is the end of practice FRQs. So this was part 10. If you've only done pieces, like I've had one from the course description, exam number 1, number 2, number 3. I'm trying to hunt down old examples to show you like what's a terrible answer, what's a mediocre answer, what's a great answer from past student responses. I think you can find this in your own student view of AP former FRQs. They're always released, a couple. I'm having trouble finding them. They've rearranged and kind of wiped things around since 2020. So I'll see if I can find those, and those will be at the end. All right. Message me if you have questions. Bye-bye. I need to stop my recording.